Well, good day, everyone. It is Rod Trent once again. This is just a quick video for the paying subscribers to my blog. I do have something I sort of wanted to talk about today. I'm actually, this is a celebration day for me. I don't know how many of you actually knew that, but you will from henceforth. Today is April 15th. All right, so if you think about that, April 15th, generally, that is, for the most part, considered tax day in the United States, where everybody has to submit their taxes. I'm horrible about that. I think, I don't know, I can't tell you the last time that I actually submitted my taxes on time, but instead have filed for an extension to give me a little bit more time to gather everything together. I'm horrible about that, keeping track of everything. My taxes are super complicated. Even though I work for Microsoft, I do some other things as well. So it does make taxes a little bit more difficult for me. Have an accountant that does that for us. But I did officially submit for an extension. The interesting thing, I guess, is that, and sort of funny, is that you have to actually um, do your taxes to file an extension so that you can later do your taxes. So, whatever. Anyway, um, more than that, I don't necessarily really celebrate tax day, except that this is also another interesting story before I actually get to my point, in that my wife, when I met her before we were married, when I first met my wife, she was actually doing her own taxes, right? So it's kind of an interesting story. My wife still does our taxes. She's done it since before I even met her. But yeah, she was doing her taxes the day that we met. It's actually, maybe I'll go into it one of these days, but interesting story how we met. Um, but we have just recently celebrated 35 years of marriage, which is also pretty awesome. We celebrated in Paris. I think some of you might know that. But today is actually April 15th, always refer to it as tax day, but also refer to it as my start day at Microsoft. So 6 years ago, so here's my 5-year award. This goes on top of it. So if you look at it, it goes together like this. I received this last year, but this is my 6th year at Microsoft. But still, this is something to celebrate. Oh, you know what I noticed? I don't know if you can see that. See that little chip? This has been chipped. I did not do that. It's possible my grandboy, and they just didn't want to tell me about it. Huh. That's okay. Yeah, that is chipped. I guess I'll have to save that. But anyway, this is my anniversary at Microsoft, my 6-year anniversary. I can still remember thinking back when I joined Microsoft. It was a much different company at that point, right? AI did not exist. I actually joined Microsoft to work in their Intune endpoint management areas. Also Azure. It had nothing to do with security at the time, but now, obviously, over time, my professional life at Microsoft has evolved immensely, where I'm focused 100% on security now with transition to a new role at Microsoft as a senior product manager. I'm focused more and more aligned with Microsoft Purview, or at least the data security piece of our security platform. So I'm actually really excited about that. Tomorrow will be like a full week in my new role. And I have to tell you already, it is super exciting, super fulfilling what is going on in this role. Really looking forward to what happens as part of that. But excuse me, can't seem to clear my throat enough today. It is kind of early here. I got up extra early, not just to celebrate, but just couldn't sleep. But I remember when I first started at Microsoft, again, a much different place. AI didn't exist. We traveled at the drop of a hat. My new employee orientation, or they call it here at Microsoft Neo. I don't know if they still call it that, but I went to Dallas, our Dallas office, and spent a week there with my new employee orientation, where I received my equipment. We went through a bunch of training, learning about Microsoft. It was awesome, I have to tell you. And it's really, really good memories. When I first started at Microsoft, I think the first year at least, I was traveling probably 3 weeks out of the month to deliver Microsoft Sentinel workshops and other things for Microsoft. Had a really great time, some great time traveling. Got tired of that after about a year, and then kind of transitioned into a role within our advocacy group or evangelist group. Was there for about 4 years, until I just recently transitioned into this product manager role here at Microsoft. Every role that I've had at Microsoft so far has been amazing. I've always looked forward to it. It's been super hopeful. And that, once again, I am super energized just by transferring or transitioning into this new job, into this new role at Microsoft. So if you're in a company that offers that type of capability where you can stay in the same company but just transfer roles, I would highly recommend it, particularly when you feel like maybe you have grown bigger in your skill set and knowledge, grown bigger than that role that you're existing in. Look for something else to do. A lot of people have to do that by moving to different companies, maybe coming back as a boomerang, but moving on to different companies so they can expand their knowledge and abilities and skill sets. I feel super blessed that I work for Microsoft. That enables me that opportunity just to kind of stay here at Microsoft, enjoy all the benefits, and continue working with a lot of the same people, but just doing it in a different way and in a different role. So I think that's pretty awesome. But that's a thing to celebrate, right? So I do celebrate every year my anniversary at Microsoft. So this is 6 years for me, right? It doesn't seem like a long time, but to be honest, it really is. And I'm the kind of personality, and you might have the same type of personality, where once I figure out a role, or I figure out a project, or I figure out a thing, I'm always looking for that next thing to keep me energized and excited. Um, it's just a personality, just a personality flaw, if you will, I guess. I don't think so. I always like to be learning, and I think that's part of it. But yeah, if you're like me, you're always looking for that next thing. And like I said, being at Microsoft is awesome because it affords me that opportunity just to go to a different department or go to a different organization and still continue learning. There is so much to learn. You would think, being here 6 years, just transitioning between different roles or different types of things that I do, some of it will be mundane and similar. And while that is, I guess, somewhat the case, it's not the ultimate truth, because every role is different. The interesting thing is, because you bring your existing skill sets into this role over a period of time, you make this role inherently yours, or that new thing that you're doing, you make it yours. You make it something that you do maybe different from others in the same role, in your same team, and things like that. And that also is probably one of the true pieces of value for that, right? So being able to transition to a role, you're expected to do certain things. Part of that role, you're expected to do specific processes. And the way the mechanics work for that role is probably pretty similar. But again, you make it your role. It's almost like tofu. If you're familiar with what tofu is, tofu, you literally, it takes on the flavor of whatever you cook it with, right? So tofu is just kind of like this whatever type of food. It's good, but I like tofu. But again, it takes on the flavor of whatever you cook it with. When you bring your skill set into a new role over time, that role takes on the flavor of you, if you will. I don't know, it sounds weird, but it's the way it is. Anyway, I just wanted to drop that this morning, let you all know about that. If you get a moment today, celebrate with me. And I don't think it's a bad thing to celebrate your employment, right? These days, we had a discussion yesterday with an individual, actually our guest on the Microsoft Security Insights show yesterday. After the show, we always have kind of conversations and stuff like that, but in the green room, if you will. That is interesting, knowing that this generation, when they get out of school, they're looking for opportunities and jobs, and the job market has changed. It's not necessarily like you, from a technical perspective, you start at help desk and you move through the pipeline to eventually, to engineer or whatever it is that you get to at that point. It's a lot different. It's a lot more difficult to understand what those things are. So, and a lot of that generation is having trouble, number one, figuring it out, but also finding something. So again, I think it's worthwhile. It's a worthy endeavor to celebrate your employment and employment longer than the next period of time. I've been at Microsoft for 6 years as of today, but I think this is thinking back. This might be my longest period at a employer ever, other than the original MIT Forum, which lasted like 25 years, something like that. But yeah, I've worked in marketing for startups. I've worked in editorial. I've done a lot of really cool things in my career. But yes, most of those have been probably 5 years or less. Again, because of that personality trait or personality flaw, however you want to look at it. And again, another reason for me to celebrate working for Microsoft, because I'm still here, still doing all this cool stuff, but still at the same company. But again, I think it's a worthwhile thing for yourself and probably for all those around you to celebrate your employment. So that's it for me for today. Thank you for listening in. I hope to talk to you all again real soon.